Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I wanted to do a vocal coach reacts to The Who, and what's really interesting about this band is I grew up in this era. Actually, I grew up a little later. My older brother would turn me on to all this really cool music, and Roger Daltrey was an inspiration. In fact, when I do my big screams, on like vocal distortion and stuff, he was an inspiration for me. That and my cousin Sammy Hagar and some other people like that do these kinds of screams. But Baba O'Reilly is a real kind of silly story for you, a funny story. When I think it was first grade, and this is a long time ago, and I don't even remember the year. I'm 55 now, so do the math. But when I was in first grade, they had these reading rooms where you spend like an hour going in there, and they had these kind of what I would call books on tape. For you younger generation probably wouldn't understand this, but they had these cassettes that you would put in, and you'd listen to a story. So it's like story time. You'd put headphones on, and all these kids would be in a line just sort of listening to the story for quite a while. And what I did was I snuck my brother's, The Who and Zeppelin and Aerosmith, all these different, cassettes out, and instead of listening to story time, I'd put those in and I'd be like rocking out. The teacher had no idea I was doing this, but this is a true story, and it was actually pretty funny. So this was one of those songs I just couldn't get enough of it. I played it over and over and over and over again. That was it. My brother used to take me to a lot of rock concerts at a really young age. I can't believe my parents let me do that. And I guess in the 70s it was different because, I don't know, their parents let your kids do. I hitchhiked all the way to the beach for 20 miles when I was a kid up Beach Boulevard. So anyway, but this is one of those songs. So we're going to do it first. We'll talk about it as we go. Here we go. And Keith Moon left us early, the drummer. I can almost see my teacher looking at me going, the story time can't be that good. I'm surprised she didn't take my headphones away from me and listen to what I was doing. That's funny. Anyway. More tambourine. Okay, one more side comment. So some of you that are in the know and have seen this band for a while, I think it was Daltrey that wrote this, and it was in My Generation, I think the song was, that I hope I die before I get old. I wonder if he's still thinking that now. So we're watching, history in motion here, which is really, really great. And the other thing too is these guys wrote the book, like all these bands, especially like the British invasion. And there was, of course, Lynyrd Skynyrd and, a lot of great U.S. bands too, but and of course, oh my gosh, the Eagles, etc. But these guys sort of wrote the book on this kind of sound, and they have a flair about them that's a lot like Led Zeppelin and so forth, and Townshend, just a great showman, great guitar player, etc. But, one of the things that they were very politically driven in a lot of the things that they said, and it's kind of come, like a lot of that stuff's come to pass, like, talking about war and this and that. Okay, another little side note, bear with me for a second. You may appreciate this or not, but there's a song called Fortunate Son, Fortunate One, Fortunate Son, Creedence Clearwater. And my understanding is that song literally eclipsed what was going on in the war at that time, because everyone was recognizing that, these wars were senseless and we're fighting, governments are fighting with other governments, a lot of it for money, most of it for money. And some of it was for protection, but most of it was just, just mass producing war. And so all these bands were coming out saying a lot of stuff that literally changed the history of their country, our country, and so forth. So, little political side note, I thought it was interesting. And by the way, I'm an advocate of protecting everyone's sovereignty, so I'm not that guy, but I am the guy that's saying that was interesting to see how these bands changed the history. Here we go. the moves that Townshend is doing on guitar. I remember as a kid, by the way, guitar is my first instrument. Singing is my second instrument. I remember trying to do that move that he was doing, and I had this pick in my hand, and it was a thin, and I remember getting my finger caught in the strings, and I went, wham, and I just ripped off this huge part of the skin of my hand. Blood went everywhere. I went, maybe I should practice that a little slower. And that also reminds me of something else. I think it was Yngwie when I first saw him or someone do it where they took their guitar and they flung it around their head. And one time I did it, I had a Gibson Explorer and I tried flinging my guitar and I went bam in the back of my head. I'm like, I mean, literally, I almost passed out. And then, but I finally got the hang of it. So I kind of did it gently, and then I kind of brought it around. And I tried it again. And first of all, the first time I tried it, I tried to go this way. But this guitar player enthusiast will appreciate this. All you other guys could care less. I tried going this way. That's not the way you do it. You do it from behind because the weight of the guitar can come around the backside. And then, so I had this really pristine, gorgeous black Gibson Explorer. And I had these strap locks on there. Apparently, the back screw wasn't in tight enough. And I went, shh, and the guitar went, cross room, bam, broke the headstock clean off of my Explorer. And I didn't have the money to get that thing fixed. I had to get it glued back on, and I had to kind of play with this really funky guitar. But anyway, Townshend was a master at this move, and so I grew up on doing that. Ken Tamplin side story. You can't make this stuff up, guy. By the way, guys. Anyway, here we go. Don't raise your eyes. It's only teenage wasteland. We have the same notes. Did you see that? I like a jump. My shoulder. Did you guys notice, for any of you that have studied rock bands from the 70s, that everyone was in competition to kind of beat the next guy? So they wanted to compete with singing, with guitar, with stage moves, with songwriting. All this stuff was just amazing. And everybody was just pushing everybody else to be really creative. And then you're watching this, again, history in motion. It's just an amazing thing. We don't really get to see a lot of that. We get, the Kardashians and, rap and some of the stuff that, that I don't want to say anyone can do, but it's more about ego. It's ego driven rather than musically driven. So let's continue. Here we go. Teenage wasteland, oh yeah, only teenage wasteland. Teenage wasteland, oh yeah, only teenage wasteland. They're all wasted. Oh, by the way, I learned too that on that move, if you're too afraid to do it, you don't have to do it and strike it with your hand. You can do a hammer-on with your left hand and kind of gently strike the strings to make it look like you're, hammering away at the guitar. I learned that the hard way, but it's true. Here we go. And then there's this violin thing that comes up. I just couldn't get enough of this as a kid, man. I don't know if this is gonna play it. I have not previewed this, by the way. Oh, he's gonna play it on harmonica. Cool. Oh, I didn't know he was going to do this. That's cool. The original version has this killer violin thing that goes on, and he's actually playing what the violinist did on the record. He's doing it on harmonica, which is good for him. That's great. By the way, one of my favorite all-time favorite harmonica players is Daryl Mansfield. If you want to hear some great harmonica playing, you should check out Daryl Mansfield. He is killer. In fact, I did a record with him, and he's the guy that plays harmonica on my song Born to Be Wild. So listen to that song and listen to his harmonica playing. It's off the charts great. What great energy, man. Hold on, I just got to do this. I can't help myself. All right, it's going to end here. Anyway, guys, I hope this was fun for you. It was fun for me. Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. And until next time, peace out. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button. That will actually take you to another page where you want to click on the bell icon, and it opens up a menu, and the menu has notifications on it where there's a little box you can check where it says send me all notifications for this channel. Check the box and then click the save button, and you'll get notifications from me every time I have a cool video come out. Okay? Thanks guys. Peace out.